tourists visited Italy. And then here, popular dates is on April, July, and February. Again, make sure this is a full sentence. So you can say something like the most popular months for travel were April, July, and February.
Without in?
No in.
It's
just popular months were April, July, and February. But if you wanted to use in, you would say, the highest. Or actually, no, I think this is fine. You could say in April that's where the highest number of people visited, but when you're talking about the past tense, it's the most popular months were April, July.
Past tense, the without the in is possible.
In this case, this sentence, yeah.
I got it.
Okay. Does this make sense so far?
No.
Does this paraphrasing make sense to you?
Sorry? It's good.
I'm just wondering, do you understand this paraphrasing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. First you said no, and then I got scared. But it seems like it's working for you. So in that case, would you like to do the next one, the next graph?
I see.
Okay, perfect. So let's go to question 4. And it says, describe chart 4 in your own words.
Can I read?
You can read if it's more comfortable for you.
I got it. The line graph shows a rate of total music sales by different methods between 2011 and 2018. There are 2 line graphs. One thing is green line and another is red line in graph. Units are in percent. Overall, there are 2 line graphs. They illustrate increasing or decreasing according to time. The percent that both explain large fluctuations during the specific period of time. Percentage of total music sales by streams is gradually grow up unlike CDs purchased. Although the amount of total sales is not high in 2011, fortunately in 2018, streams are occupied by 40% between total music sales. The amount of CDs total sales starts about 55%, but sadly, the line graph depicts go down until in 2018. There are some points like meeting each other. CDs purchased is also 30% and stream is also 30% in 2016. It seems people get both of them.
Great. All right, so I will put this into our document. There we go. And then, here you're doing a great job using in for the years. You're saying in 2018, in 2011, so that is perfect. So what I can just do is at the bottom, I'll have just quick corrections and just take a note here. The first one is when you're reading percent, what I'm hearing you say is 30 percentage. However, the correct way to say this is just 30%, like that.
30%.
No A-G-E, just 30%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And then, just so we have it written down if you need it later, I'll just say use in when you are talking about specific or a general dates, about time more generally. So you can say, generally, months, years, use on when you are talking about
A month
a
in.
specific date. Like, for example, on May 27th, we had a lesson.
I see.
So just so you have that note, just there.
Okay.
But we can go back to our paraphrasing up here now, and see where we can just make some quick changes to sound even more natural and fluent. So yes, I think you did a great job. You said this line graph at the beginning, so I wouldn't change that, this line graph.
Thank you.
I will add it here too, just because I copied and pasted it, and you made it correct.
Yeah.
So I have to give you credit for that. This line graph, you said shows is good. Again, we can use illustrates, as it's a really nice word that can elevate your language. So illustrates, immediately you're talking about a trend, which is good. I would just say this is more specific, so I would talk about it a little bit later. So again, we can just have the general sentence. This line graph illustrates the percentage of total music sales by method between 2011 or 2011 and 2018. And then you're talking about two lines. So I think we should first, introduce them, which you have. So that's perfect. Just make sure you're talking in the plural. There are two lines with an S on the graph. And then you can say the green line represents streams, and the red line represents CDs purchased. Does that make sense so far? Just to give an overall idea of what's happening.
I'm learning about the represent. Yeah.
This is just, it means, it's standing in for the number of CDs purchased, and this green part represents or stands for, this is CDs, green is streams. So that's a verb to use when you're talking about graphs. And then you can say, I would say fluctuated. It's a word that you used right here.
Yeah.
Would be a word that's more accurately applied to something like this graph, because it's going up and down and up and down. So that's what fluctuating means. Here, it's just gradually going up, and here it's gradually going down. It's not really fluctuating.
I see.
But I see what you mean. So maybe we can say something like, the graph indicates, that's like another word for shows, indicates that the, percentage of total music sales, we can say something like changed or drastically changed.
Dramatically, I got it.
Over the years. Just something simple like this. So not fluctuated, but it was different. So it changed.
I see.
And then, so then you could say, and clear trends can be identified when examining both. Again, they call them methods. So clear trends, meaning we can clearly see one is going up and we can clearly see one is going down. And then now you can get specific. So here you can say, you said it was low, was not high. Instead of saying not high, I would just stick to saying just low, because it's just a bit more clear. So you can say the percentage of total music sales by streams, that's long, was low in 2011. You can say around 5 and make sure you say percent. But then you can say, but it steadily increased over the years to around 40% in 2018. So we're just taking both of those ideas that you had here and putting it into the same sentence to sound more clear.
I have a
Does that make
question. Between the 2011 and around the 5%, there are some thing.
This dash.
Yeah. When can I use it?
This dash right here, it's good in writing, but I'm indicating it more so for your speaking. This is just used when you're giving a tiny little example after your general statement.
I got it.
So you're just giving a little explanation. It was low in 2011, around 5%. If you wanted, you could put this into two sentences. So you could say the percentage of total music sales by streams was low in 2011. It stood at around 5%, but that's a tiny bit longer and not super necessary here. So when you want to, you can just do that to show that.
I wonder that because whenever I see this, how can I use it? I don't know grammar like that.
Yes. Just make sure you're not starting a sentence this way, but after a full sentence, you can add a little bit of an explanation there or tiny example. That's a great question. And then steadily increase means like slowly increase to 40% in 2018. And then this is the opposite, the red line. So you can say in contrast. You're explaining the opposite. So in contrast, there is you can say there is a downward trend for CDs purchased. And then we can say the percentage of total music sales by CDs was high in 2011. As you can say, it stood at 55%. And then you can say it then steadily decreased to just over 20% in 2018. So just over 20%. This might be 25, we're not sure. So just over 20 is okay as well. And then you have having met each other. So you can say in 2016, you can say these lines crossed, where streams and CDs purchased, you can say each represented around 30% of total music sales. So just one general correction I wanted to give you is here you're using words like fortunately, and I believe sadly as well. Since you're talking about a graph, this is adding emotion to this graph, and we don't have to add emotion because it's like you're making a judgment. So instead, just try to describe the graph without words like fortunately and sadly. Instead, we can use words like in contrast because it's introducing a fact but not an emotion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
Yeah. So just a little tip, it'll help you sound more fluent and natural as well. But does this make sense so far?
No. Thank you for teaching me. I learned a lot of things.
Of course. We still have about 12 minutes, and I see that there are some discussion questions. So in Ringle, it doesn't just have to be describing graphs or doing something very technical like this is. Sometimes students just have discussions with their tutors, and their tutors will write down what they say and show them another way to say it. So we can do that for the last 12 minutes if you would like. Is that okay with you?
Nowadays, I'm worried about my exam because my speaking skills